Marilyn's party was a sleepover party, so only girls were invited for the whole thing, but boys were invited for the first half. The boys Marilyn invited were not Kate's favorite type. They were boys like Wes Porter and Robbie Ballard, soccer player boys who did not talk to girls who weren't cheerleaders. In Kate's opinion, boys like this should have to do community service at nursing homes or hospitals, where people were wrinkly or covered with bandages on the outside, but probably had beautiful souls. Boys like Wes Porter and Robbie Ballard did not think enough about people's souls, as far as Kate could tell. And, it went without saying, they did not talk to girls like Kate Faber, basketball-playing girls with plain brown hair and a jungle of freckles on their noses and cheeks. So for the first 2 hours of the party, the hours that the boys were there, Kate had watched murder mystery shows on TV in the family room with Marilyn's little brother, Petey, who was about to start 4th grade and was actually pretty good company. He knew a lot about solving homicides for a 9-year-old. He kept pointing out stuff to her, like how weaselly this one guy looked around the eyes, even though he was very handsome in general. "That's how you can tell who did it," Petey had explained, his face moon-white in the TV's glow. "By looking at their eyes. People blink when they lie, so that's a big giveaway." Kate had tried to get caught up in the shows. The room was dark except for the TV, and it was sort of cozy. If she'd been home, eating a bowl of cereal, her dog, Max, sleeping on the other end of the couch, she would have congratulated herself on finding a perfect way to spend the Friday night before school started. But since it was Marilyn's couch, and since there were 15 people in the backyard who thought that being good-looking was the only valid reason for being alive and weren't the least bit interested in what Kate was doing, or why, Kate did not feel she was having a perfect evening. She was feeling left out by people she didn't even like. It was insulting. It occurred to her, then, that if she played guitar, she would not have these kinds of problems. She thought of the guitar-playing girls on TV. They didn't care about cheerleaders and soccer players and feeling left out. All they cared about was expressing themselves with their guitars and their big shoes. They were above middle school and all the stupid things that happened there, which is exactly what Kate wanted to be. She'd gotten up early the next morning and carefully stepped over the sleeping bodies of the other party guests, mostly a bunch of skinny, soon-to-be 7th-grade cheerleaders, none of whom had paid any attention to her during the slumber party part of the party either, and headed home in her pajamas so she wouldn't wake anybody up trying to get dressed. She only lived across the street and 3 houses down, so if anyone saw her, they'd probably just think she was out looking for Max. What she wanted to do was go home and think about guitars. Just thinking about guitars made her feel better. That early in the morning, she didn't expect to see Flannery out walking her dog, especially since she hadn't seen Flannery all summer and had halfway assumed she had moved or become a juvenile delinquent and run away. Flannery had spent most of the year before trying to ruin Kate's life by making everyone, including Marilyn, treat her like dirt, but then suddenly she'd discovered 8th graders and stopped caring about Kate and Marilyn altogether. Now Flannery had hot pink hair and wore lots of eye makeup. When she saw Kate, she waved. "I like your jams," she called out. "They're exactly like you." Kate looked down at her pajamas, a tank top and shorts, yellow cotton printed with red strawberries. How could they be exactly like her? They weren't exactly like anything, except maybe a piece of strawberry shortcake, which was nothing like Kate, who did not think of herself as sweet, or as a dessert item, for that matter. "Why are you out so early?" Kate asked Flannery, not able to think of anything else to say. Flannery was not in her pajamas. She was wearing a black t-shirt and cut-off shorts and flip-flops. Her toenails were painted silver. She looked approximately 23 years old. "My mom said if I didn't take better care of Rocco here, she was going to send him to the old dogs' home."